Hey, 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 Wheatfield. This is your girl Lottie from Tears and Wheat to Rose Show, where you sure enough never know what you gon' get. Tonight, I just pulled out my Archangel Michael deck. I don't know why I always have such a weird time saying that. But I pulled out this deck and my text, the one that I cut my teeth on, again, spiritual, not religious, but we war with principalities. And this is a place where we get principles from for teaching, for learning, for edification. We also are studying a couple of accompanying texts. So we got this one. We have this one that we're working through. We have, of course, the Bhagavad. We got, quite a few of them down here that we have been touching on to bring some messages to the wheat field in terms of edification and just our growth. Personal edification unto self, so that I may edify the source, our eternal Lord of all, which called all things creation, all things in creation by its mind, its infinite intelligence. It connects and binds all of creation with its breath of life, the force of life. It does, right? And thank you so much, Father, for being here. My awareness, giving me the inspiration to bring forth this message. And I pray that it resonates with some of you, my we, as it resonates with me already, for our edification, so that we can come together over these principles and magnify ourselves so that we can magnify the source of all. For we are the wheat, right? And it is, a part of our learning and discernment in this plane to recognize the tears in our life, and to pull our focus off of that to get what we need for learning, to see what is projecting, reflecting onto us, so that we can learn, we can grow, we can get better, right? Edification, that whole thing. And of course, we serve that up to the source at the end of the day. So we are edifying the Most High, our eternal Lord of all, that which made all things in creation, everything. So, considering that creation was called by its mind, the mind of the infinite, its intelligence or wisdom, the principal thing, if you are down into this book, that chapter 8 Proverbs, chapter 3, 13 through 30. I'm just saying, wherever you at in there, if you in the Gita, if you recognize prana, the breath, you know what I'm talking about, or what do they call them? Bob, that energy of the eternal itself. And the distortion, I think, is Yama, right? Yeah. So it's called by many things, but one and the same spirit. So we are down in here because I had a conversation today with one of my mommies, and we were talking about belief versus non-belief, right? We have many discussions on, belief versus non-belief, and how we can, how both can exist at the same time. So it's almost like saying, you see those memes and things that people talking about what the source is and what the source isn't. And I always think that's particularly funny because who are we to define what the source is? Like, how do we have that much discerning information to know the Father, like that which made all of creation? Like, we could literally accept that the Father made everything, but then proclaim to know exactly what it is. I just don't personally. I personally don't think that we have the ability to even discern all of the properties of the Most High God in this vessel. Like, I don't believe that this vessel and our current manifestation in the 3D, which we currently reside, are we able to even quantify that which made all things in the how? You know what I mean? Like, we don't have, in my opinion. So other people may feel differently, and to each their own. This is a free and open space for however you practice. We recognize theology across the plane, and how the Most High, our Creator, the Lord of all of creation, has spoken to its wheat field throughout the entire existence. Like, when it first moved, like, we try to get our hands around all of those concepts and bring them together. So however you know, whether you hear or in another text, or, you know, scripture or whatever, the principles, again, the principalities are generally the same, right? So we can see and mesh those up. Like, I can mesh up these principles with nature, with astrology, and how our universe works, how we have seasons. My body has seasons. Like, as a woman, we definitely, you know, they don't call it, we ain't gonna go into all that, but you know what I'm trying to say. We can look at the body, the in and the out, you know, they mirror each other, they project each other. And so it's always, it sticks with me, the conversations that we have in terms of people accepting a portion of the Most High, but not the other portions of the Most High. And I think we see that in how we accept self and how we accept others, right? If you are unable to accept the Most High, the fact that the Most High, like this book says, created good and evil, like all things were created by our eternal Lord of all, by its wisdom, its word, did it call all things, moves by the breath of life that animates us and connects and binds all things. If you are unable to accept that wholeness, the completeness, then you may struggle with accepting wholeness and completeness of self. Like, not recognizing certain portions and pieces of you, beloved, that need to come to wholeness. And not to say that you need to judge good, bad, and different. None of that. It's just accepting the whole. Where you could say, yeah, we have, you know, something made all of this. Something designed it all. It had to be highly intelligent. Have you ever looked at the compounded, integrated systems of the vessel, your body? We talked about the 8 wonders. 5 of them are called senses that we were talked about, but they only tell us about those 5. They don't tell us that we have 3 more on top of that, such as our emotions, our intuitive mind, and then the grand cosmic mind that connects us all. How do we know we have a grand cosmic mind? Because our eyes don't see a visual. They bring in light. They bring in light data, and we process it and create the vision in our mind. How do we know we're also connected? Because our ears don't pick up sound. It's resonance, frequency. We put together the language in our mind. We taste, we smell with our mind. Everything happens with the mind. And because I can eat fried chicken and you can eat fried chicken, and we both know that we're eating fried chicken, we can both go outside in the same space and say, yeah, the sky is blue, the sun is out, it's not raining. Like, we can discern consistently across the plane. So all of our vessels speak the same language. Isn't that lovely? Isn't it lovely? You all can hear me sing. I don't sound so great, but I sing like nobody's listening, so whatever, right? But the thing is that we speak the same language. We read the same frequency. We pick up the same light. We can have diverse tongues, which we do. We have, I don't know how many dialects on the plane, but everything speaks. They have just really discovered that the universe hums. Did we not think that it was in motion? Yeah, the universe is in motion. And things that are in motion usually have a rhythm. Yeah. It is moving. So as it moves, it creates waves, and those waves, that frequency can be heard as sound. But we don't think oftentimes about the obviousness of our world. Like, it can be highly simplistic, but also extremely intricate and delicate and just intuitive. Like, the intelligence that's wrapped up in there is so, like, awe-striking. I cannot explain to you all the ways that our chromosomes combinate and recombinate, and how we reproduce ourselves, and how we go through systems like mitosis and meiosis and all other osises, and how disease actually manifests, like how the enzymes inside your cells, like, what is it, transcriptase or something like that, that actually backspaces and corrects your DNA code if it lays down incorrectly, to keep you from having an error in your cells when they rewrite themselves, as you are recycling and renewing the vessel all the time. You talking about a highly sustainable piece of technology that we ride in around in, to what? This right here, beloved. The ability to see, smell, taste, and feel sensation, to hear, is a wonder, because nobody could really understand how do we put that together in connectivity, so in such a way where we can both see the same sky, the same sun, the same sensations, have that empathy, sympathy, compassion for one another, and that connectivity is just like, what? How? Yeah. To see how a woman's body from a side view is perfectly meshed for the way that a baby, an embryo, grows, and even all the way on to delivery. If you've ever studied anatomy itself, my first love was medicine. That's my first degree. Anywho, I love the body because it shows the intelligence of the Most High. And if we are unable to continue at this time, define our plane, the vessel, the mysteries therein, that which is at the depths of the ocean, we are just going out far enough into space to notice that the universe hums. How can we define what the source is, pray tell? How can we say, on the one hand, that this is of the source because it made all things, but say, no, that's not of the source? How do we deny bits and pieces of something that we have no true, real ability to unravel the mysteries thereof? Like, we can only speak about it in parable and in metaphors. Let's ponder on that. Could it be that it's projection? That we project our own inner fears and misunderstandings onto the Most High God? If we are unable to accept the wholeness of creation, or that creation itself is whole, how do we accept ourselves as whole? How do I bring all the pieces of La-Ti together and mesh and mold that and accept all of me? That which I would probably rather do away with and reject, and then the high, which I would rather exalt, right? How do I mesh and bring them two together for balance? Could I not look at self, or just a plane, and say, you probably heard me use this analogy before, that there's destruction and reconstruction, birth and rebirth, present within the universe, present within my vessel. Cells are born and die all the time. I have to put no focused attention on that happening. It is happening without my focus, not subconscious focus, but just unattended focus. Like, I don't need to pay attention to that. It's on autopilot, pretty much, right? So, like our two sides of the central nervous system, like they say, this is working here, and autonomic and autotomic, or non, or whatever the case may be. I ain't been down that deep in it in a minute, so roll with your girl. You get what I'm saying. Some shit you gotta pay attention to, and some shit you just don't. You just don't. Anywho, the discussion was on the fact that belief versus unbelief. You know, and it's about that straddling the fence. You know, sometimes you believe and sometimes you don't believe. Sometimes you believe and sometimes you don't believe. Like, which way are you gonna go? And how do you get to balance and polarity? Like, to just get to base with this thing and decide which way you're gonna polarize, whether you don't believe or whether you do believe. Can you come to balance with it and just be like, it's whole, it's everything, and everything that's in it was made by the Most High God, because it just is. So, anywho, into this text. There's many who do not believe that people prophesy. They do not believe that people are seers or have the ability to work energy. Now, if anybody has ever studied with the monks or Buddhists and you see their level of discipline and mental focus, you definitely can see the body and the mind do some amazing things, like strengthen you to the point where you literally holding up your entire body weight on these two right here, or be able to put a hole through a glass, or like all kind of stuff like that you can do. The vessel is amazing, and the power of belief is amazing. You can manifest and do pretty much anything you want to do with focus and discipline. Now, I'm not saying run out there and jump off the Empire State Building. Please don't do that, okay? I am not suggesting anything reckless. But what I am saying is that with focus and attention and diligence and commitment, there are a plethora of things that can and do take place with a focused mind. A part of this conversation that I had with my mom is that the fact that we, in this day and age, do not have the same powers that was displayed during this time. And I always find that odd, especially from a religious discussion standpoint, where people are adamant that, people who can see, people who can prophesy, people who can work in the spirit are like witches, or all of this dark magic, dogma, taboo type of conversation. Like, absolutely hands off, nothing to do with it. Now, I'm not trying to convince you of any way. No judgment here, right? You don't judge me, I don't judge you. This is a free and open space, right? We said that disclaimer. But in this text, the word, it tells you that it's true. The last messenger said, greater works will you do. Out of all of the demonstrations that are described in the text, raising Lazarus from the dead, who had been gone for a couple of days, like he was out, rigor mortis, you know what I mean? Wine from water. Feeding thousands with 2 loaves and 2 fish, or a loaf and 2 fish, I can't remember. It was minimal. I'm talking about barely anything. I mean, he himself haven't been resurrected. I mean, like all of, I know, Father, thank you. It's for, no. Right? So when you have all of these analogies and examples, and then be directly told, greater works will you do. I mean, down to walking on water, a water walker. And Peter walked on out there and took his eye off of the messenger and then started to sink. And he said, "Ye of so little faith." When do we sink? When the faith is not there, is what I heard out of that message, right? So if we can read these examples and these stories of tellings of the ability to operate in the spirit, we can see it in our daily lives for people who study in the spirit and committed and diligent to the path of righteousness. I heard Father say what you can do. So when we come into our daily lives and we believe not, there I think lies a paradox. Why is it, beloved, that we do not believe in this day and age that the same miracles exist? When we can see brothers and sisters in other parts of the plane in this day and age do some amazing things, things that are jaw-dropping, that remind you of your divinity. You were called and made by the infinite intelligence, the most high God, the creator of all of creation, made you with its intelligence. And people have recorded what we can do in the flesh, in the vehicle, because this is a vessel. It is not I. If I observe self in the vessel, I am here. My spirit is in the kingdom, an operator of the vessel. Yes, in this plane, heaven coming to earth, in earth, on earth to do the work of heaven, a work that I do not remember. I go through my life to discover a purpose, as do all of us, unless you realize it very early and get into that thing and you get to rocking and rolling. But you don't come in as a babe and remember it. You don't. No, you don't hold on to that memory. You have to rediscover it. You have to learn what you don't remember. And then you have to go through a period of, what do they say now, unlearning. Right? So let's jump on in here, because we was reading in 1 Corinthians chapters 12 and chapter 13. So if you are one of my wheat, go on and get your word out and take a look and gander on down through there. And let's look at the wholeness and just talk about what the Father said is in here. Some of the clues and tidbits about what you can do, or the gifts that were left onto you. Let's get into it. Says, chapter 12, 1 Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 3. I shall not call anyone's name, because that is not my advice. So I won't call a name. Specifically, I say messenger, okay? Because the principles are the same, so please stay with me. Don't click off this. Just stay, okay? All right. So, let's go to 4. 1 Corinthians 12 and 4. Okay. Now there are diversities of gifts, right? But of the same Spirit. Diversities of gifts, but of the same Spirit. Spirit of who? Spirit of the Most High God, the one who made all of creation, the Lord of all of creation, our eternal Most High. Yes. So, and there are differences of administration, but the same Lord. So we have different gifts of the same Spirit. They are administered differently, but it's still the same Lord, the same God. And there are diversities of operations. How they operate is going to be different, right? But it is still the same God, which works in all. 7. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit. So the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man for our benefit. Yeah, to profit within. For to one is given by the Spirit of the word of wisdom. So that's one spirit. To another, the word of knowledge by the same spirit. That's another one. To another, faith by the same spirit. To another, the gifts of healing. Now we're getting into something, a gift of healing. Oh, that's nice. By the same spirit. To another, the working of miracles. Ooh, the working of miracles. To another, prophecy. Prophecy, pray tell? Yes, prophecy. What about to another, discerning of spirits? Discernment of spirits? What type of spirits, pray tell? Are there more than one type of spirit in this realm, in this manifestation, on this plane, in this earth? Yeah, there are. Is there a gift that helps you understand and discern types of spirits? Yeah, beloved. Yeah, there is. To another, divers of kinds of tongues. So not only can you distinguish the types of tongues and interpretation of tongues, two different types of gifts, but all of these that work with the same spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. Dividing unto every man? Yeah, pretty much. Let us go over here to 1 Corinthians 13. Just jump over just a little bit, right? And we're going to start from 1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, I have not charity. I am become as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I have give my body to be burned, I have not charity. It profits me nothing. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envies not. Charity vaunteth not itself. It is not puffed up. It is not egocentric. No. Doth not behave itself unseemingly. Seek not her own. Is not easily provoked. Thinks no evil. It rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Beareth all things. Believes all things. Hoping all things, enduring all things. Charity never fails, but wherever there be prophecies, they shall fail. Wherever there be tongues, they shall cease. Wherever there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part, because we know not all. We don't. So even those with the gift of prophecy, seers, those who have the gift, may be able to say some, but we can never tell the whole. It's only in part, because only so much is revealed or can revealed or be revealed or allowed onto revelation, because the intelligence itself factors in uncertainty. So no seer, none of us, will ever know in full. It's always in part. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then what which is in part shall be done away. And then it goes into what we've heard so many times taught by other teachers. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know, even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity. These 3. Faith, hope, and charity. Hey, Sasha. She always has to come up here on our channel. But the greatest of these is charity. The greatest of these is charity. Come on, baby, you gotta get down. 14 says, follow after charity, follow after charity, and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that you may prophesy. For he that speaks in an unknown tongue speaks not unto men, but unto God. For no man understands him, howbeit in the Spirit he speaks mysteries. But he that prophesies seeketh unto men to edification and exhortation and comfort. Now we do know it goes on further to talk about the distinction between just, speaking in an unknown tongue in the presence of men, and the fact that they know not what you say is not a good thing. We can see that principle back when Moses had elected all those elders, and then the Most High said, okay, well, I'm going to come down and sit in a cloud and speak unto you so that the children may also hear. That way everybody is under the same common understanding, and there can be no folly. There can be no manipulation of the word. We did all of that reading to say this. Spiritual gifts exist. They existed for eons, since the creation of man itself, the cosmos, creation. Creation itself is a gift. It's a spiritual gift. To experience it, you must experience it through the vessel on this plane, because you are a spiritual being riding around in a vessel. So if we are to really believe that we are a spiritual being having a human experience riding around in a vessel, and everything that we have been taught, that creation is whole, it is complete, it is made and called by our infinite eternal Lord, the Most High God, that which made all of creation by its mind, its wisdom, its word, its principal thing, that it moves by the breath of life, it connects all of us, then we can accept that the Most High is everything, all things good and evil. Maybe you will be able to accept all the things about you, all of the attributes, all of your gifts, everything, all of your wholeness. And if you can accept all of your wholeness, then you can accept me for my wholeness, the same way I can accept you in your wholeness, with charity, goodwill, a willingness to look after one another without ego, without expectation, any of that. To know that we can and do some amazing things. Greater works will you do. Greater works will you do, beloved. The opportunity for us to tap into our gifts that were equally divided unto all men, administered differently, is with us. It has been told to us. In several texts has it been told to us. Is it practiced all over the plane? So I challenge all of us on this day. Can we come together on that? Cooperative economics. Ujamaa. Abarigani? Yes, that is the word. For us to bring our whole self to the market and operate in a collective, cooperative manner with goodwill and charity, accepting our whole selves, knowing that everything is to use for the good. The good of who? The Most High God, that which made all things, not unto our purpose, not unto our understanding, but to that which sent us, heaven touching earth, to do a work. Maybe it doesn't remember that it is a piece of heaven. Maybe it doesn't remember how powerful it is. The power that is within is reflected on the out. And if I can accept everything as whole, made by the Father, then maybe I can accept all of me as whole, made by the Father. And maybe then I can accept all of thee as whole and made by the Father. Thank you guys so much for sitting with me. I pray that this message reach someone and that it's helpful. Helpful to accept your whole you. And to know that you are empowered to do all that you were sent to do. To know that the Most High thought of you, that you are a pixel of creation, and that the Most High lives and breathes through you. To the next Now on the Tears and We Tarot show with your girl Lati, where you never know what you're going to get. You just never, ever know. Know this. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you just like I love me, beloved. I do. Because I love the Most High God, our eternal Lord of all of creation, that made everything, everything, everything by its infinite intelligence and connects us with the breath of life. And to the next Now, we'll call this an Ashe.